Boom. Wow. I'm actually early. Yes. It is it is 8 o'clock. Well, it's actually 7:58 a.m. here, May the 11th here in Angeles City, Philippines. And I'm actually a few minutes early. And that's because number one, this is a really complicated live stream. And number two, there's a lot of information here. And then finally, there's a lot of news here. So, um, we'll have to take things one step at a time. First off, this is not a bashing issue. All right, we're not going to do that. That's not what this is about. This is about, is Heidi sick? Number one. What is it she is sick with? Number two. Number three, because there's been so much internet gathering, people have gone on the internet to look things up and do things, and words have gotten misconstrued. And we're going to cover, another issue in this that actually I don't think Heidi and George have actually addressed. And yet I know they know it exists, but we're going to be doing a lot of that. So, these things are all what they are, but this is not going to be a bashing issue. We will have an open panel after the initial presentation. Heidi has been, and George, of course, have been invited to cam up, and I will actually have an open panel. Whether we'll deal with Heidi and George and an open panel at the same time, I'm not sure. All right. But what we will do is say this: we're not going to tolerate a lot of bullshit. People like you guys know how I am. I'm very straightforward. I'm very, very clinical. I'm very, very to the point. And with that being said, I don't want to pull any punches, but I'm going to say this. For trolls, we're not going to cam up anybody that's faceless. If you don't have the ability to show your face, if you're not willing to do that, we're not going to cam them up, number one. Number two, all right, we don't care. That this live stream is not about Heidi and George's past. It is nothing to do with what is true, not true, what has been misrepresented, what is there, what is not. All of those things being said. And Slick Rick has said this, and everyone, please be respectful to the host, towards everyone else on the live chat. Any hostilities, name calling, or obscenities will not be tolerated. And you are correct, Rick. I'm not going to tolerate that. That's not what this is about. Okay? What we're going to do is explain to you what Heidi has presented. We're going to put it into very clinical terms, very clinical representations. All right? And we're going to then allow Heidi to add information to that, to comment on that information if they so wish to do so. All right. But what we are going to do is to clarify some things. And so this brings us to the first part. Also, you know what? One quick anecdotal issue. Heidi is not the only person. We see sick expats all the time. But what about the others? And what I mean by that is, as of right now, not 5 minutes ago, I was speaking to another Angeles City vlogger, all right, who has a newborn child, I think probably less than 4 months old now, who is currently in the hospital and had open heart surgery last week. 7 days ago, 6 days ago, 5 days ago, something like that. They're still in the hospital. All right. You don't have to be an old, crusty person like me, all right, to face health issues here. That's just all there is to. Um, that's just all there is to it. I'm not going to bring up their name. I'm not going to say anything about it, other than to say they had open heart surgery on Monday. The baby is doing well, doing very good. I think they've been in the hospital now like 7 days, and you know what? If at some time they become more public with it, then great. But our thoughts go out to that individual and their young, what a cute kid. Oh my God. You know what? To have such an ugly father, he did really and truly, it's a cute kid. I mean, that's just all there is. But again, I'm going to represent this by saying this very clearly, very, very upfront. This is not a bashing section. This is a clinical reaction to what's going on with what Heidi has represented. And it would be up to you to decide whatever. But it's not going to be a bashing session, and I will not tolerate that. All right? And I expect my moderators to not tolerate it either. Either mute them, put them in timeout, or if it comes worse, kick them out. It's just that simple. You have my permission. Be reasonable. That's not to say you can't disagree. It is only to say that we are trying to present something in an informative manner. So let's see here. What have we been? 7 minutes in. It's 11. What time is it? 8:05. We're going to give it about another 5 minutes before we start the presentation. And in doing so, I'll go back and read through some of the comments to catch up. Mike, you're early. Yeah, I was early. I was. I actually spent a lot of time yesterday putting this together. I hope you're impressed with what I put together. In addition to that, I spent time putting it together this morning, so I hope you guys appreciate that too. Good morning, Get Out Live Now, Philippines. Get Out Live. All right. Tim Deziak, good morning. How are you, Tim? Brewmeister, good morning, Brew. How are you? How's things going? Scott Ferris, good morning. How are things? Dano, good morning, Dano. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Bobby Gill, if the spouse has a successful family, that should say something if they don't kick money down to help. Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. That's dysfunctional families are not uncommon, Bobby. That's just kind of the way I see it. Good morning from Southeast Tennessee, Heath McDowell. Good, man, all of our regulars are in here. Slick Rick, good morning, Mike, in San Francisco, where I'm paying anywhere from $5.90 to $6.20 a gallon. Wow. Wow. Everyone, please be respectful. Again, we're saying this. You've got to be adults. And you've got to be respectful adults, because we know not all adults are respectful. All right? This is not, and I'm just going to say it again, it's not a bashing thing. We are not here for that. James Gilbert, good morning, James. How are you? Thank you. Oh, Heidi and George are here. I don't know if it's Heidi and George, but Philippine Antics is here. Good morning. I hope that I represent and present in a reasonable fashion. We'll see. Okay. It's just me, just Heidi. Okay. Joe, you're asking for a lot. People acting like adults. Yeah, well, you know what? Let's let them act. the moderators, Rick is out there, D Webb may be in there, Philly may drop in. Um, so, we'll see, but that's the way it is. They have full permission to put people in timeout. They have full permission to delete their comments. They have full permission to do whatever. Okay? Often the past is a prologue to the future. Yeah, but that is not what we're looking at. All right? We're looking at this from a clinical point of view, Joe Paul. All right? A clinical point of view. And that is the bottom line. Joe Paul. The problem is Heidi talks a lot of trash, so some of this is just rebound effect. You put negativity out, you get it back. That's part of YouTube, sure it is, but that's not what this is about. This isn't about Heidi. All right, this is about my reaction to Heidi's situation from a purely educated clinical point of view. I will listen to all the experts, Dano says. Okay, great. 1, 2, 3 smoke. I would not move to the Philippines without good medical insurance and a buffer of at least. Yeah, you got to do that. Oh, there we go. D Webb is here. Big Dave, spoke with him yesterday. He caught us as we were going out. Good morning, Dave. Dardos, buenos dias. Buenos dias, Dardos. ¿Cómo está? Mick Lovin. Good morning, Mick Lovin. Good to see you. Good to see you. Sunset Travel made it. Good to see you. How's things in Australia? Phil McLeod. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Phil. And Michael Ed. I watched Heidi last night live. I ran from that live in 3 minutes, was disgusted by her live. I know why I went and got a Phil. Yeah, big deal. All right. This is not about her as a person. That's not what this is about. And people need to recognize that. Okay? Let's just be honest. That's not what this is about. So we can deal with it however you want, but we're going to go by my rules. All right? As I've often said, YouTube is not a democracy, and we're going to leave it at that. Dardos says anybody that misbehaves will meet the wrath. No, you know what? If people, here's what's funny. If people get highly negative bullshit, all right, about something that isn't part of the topic, isn't the subject that I'm covering, I'm going to suffer the wrath. I'll suffer the wrath from Arlene going to me and saying, hey, you know what? You needed to get a better control over it. So, well, unfortunately, not all of us can get health insurance in the Philippines. Yes, and that's absolutely true. And even if you can get it, it's limited sometimes. Phil McGowan, this is awesome. Heidi, and all right, you know what? We don't need to be calling people names, Philippines King. We don't. Why? What has that got to do with it? What is that? Sorry. Mike, be careful how you work things about medical care. People have been banned. Yes, indeed. In fact, I would also say this. All right, Bruce, you're so correct. I have to be very careful. I have to make the following statement. Because of the law in the Philippines, all right, I cannot represent myself. Nobody can represent. Let me see the best way to say this. People cannot represent themselves as being lawyers, doctors, engineers, registered nurses, and about a dozen, maybe more, other professions, because in the Philippines, they have a professional registry. All right. And to say that you are such is against the law, which is why all I'm going to say is I have close to 40 years experience in medicine. Read between the lines. And that's all I can say. All right. Hurley, Philippine Health Antics. The show's become an autobiography. Yeah. Well, and maybe rightfully so. Isn't that part of it? It shows you things like what can happen. Don't look at the left hand, look at the right. There you go, Dano. John, what is your clinical opinion of her self-diagnosis of having autism? Never heard her say it, don't know it, so I have no comment on it. Go Sabres! Yay, just a bill. Thanks. My God, Norman made it. You know, Norman, at it again, I see no judgment, just ivory tower views from the expert of spreadsheets. You know what, John, if you're there, I would love to do a live stream with you. I would love, because of trying to understand the British political system. So there you go. At it again. Good old John, he can't help himself. Can't help it. Hector, hey, Mike, just got my California primary ballot and see 62 candidates running for governor. I think about running the next cycle. There you go. Philippines going. Norman the Clown. Hey, Mike, got back from Manila last night, turned on the tube this morning, lucked out because you're there. I don't know whether it's luck or not. Okay, but let us get started now. All right, we've got 70 in the room, and we'll see what happens. Brian is here as well. Good morning, Brian. I hope I didn't step on your live stream, but I actually have a very limited window for this. All right, and we'll come back to more comments later, but we'll get started. All right, so the first part of what we're looking at here is Heidi's claim to having congestive heart failure. And again, this is going to get back to a thing that I talked about between what misconceptions. I have seen people identify and claim Heidi has chronic heart failure. Heidi is claiming this. Heidi is claiming that. Heidi is claiming congestive heart failure. All right. And what is congestive heart failure? How do we define it? An ejection fraction of 40% or less generally qualifies as heart failure with reduced ejection fraction. So a normal one is between 50 and 70, and an EF of 40% or lower indicates that the heart's struggling to pump sufficient blood, often correlating with symptoms of congestion. So, with that being said, Heidi has provided her echo. All right, so how do we get the ejection fraction? We use ultrasound. All right, we do what's called Doppler color flow Doppler. All right, which is we can actually see a representation of the blood moving through the various chambers of the heart, the four chambers, the ventricles and the eight. All right, and everything. So we can see how much of that is moving on each beat. And that's where we get the ejection fraction. It's how much blood is actually pumped on that beat through that last valve, that I think it's the right atrium, if I remember correctly, through that valve. So that's where it is. So if you are under, all right, an ejection fraction of 40 or under, then you are clinically That is a clinical definition of congestive heart failure. So you cannot deny, you cannot claim that she does not have congestive heart failure. All right? You just simply can't do it. Now, how does this apply? Well, again, we go back to a lot of misrepresentation that's been here. But what are the next steps? And how do we define those next steps? And from a clinical pathway, in medicine, we have what we call a clinical pathway or a decision tree. These are the things that we follow. So let's talk about, before we get to that, let's talk about Heidi's lupus. Now, Heidi has made no qualms about saying, hey, I have lupus. I'm on Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you, Social Security has what they call the Blue Book. You can Google it. The Blue Book of Disabilities. And it will tell you for every single type of disability that you can claim, or every single type of disease or damage or whatever that you can claim to get disability, they have a list, an actual list. You can't go to your primary care doctor and have him write a letter that says she has XYZ and Social Security Disability is going to give it to you. There are specific tests. They are then correlated with a clinical background. All right. So if she qualifies for all of that, then they give her Social Security Disability. And that's what they did. And so it's kind of hard for so many of those of you that might be in the audience right now are on SSDI or some form of disability, some of you, okay? So you can't deny that you should be entitled to it because you qualified, but she's not entitled to it. So it's a real process. So we can definitely say, number one, she has congestive heart failure. We can definitely say, number two, she has lupus. Even though, and I will say this, lupus is like voodoo. There's no single test that definitely sits it the way it is. There is no definitive means. You have to have certain enzyme and blood markers to meet certain criteria and have a history of certain ailments. So with that being said, can you fake it? Yeah, you can fake it, just like you can fake many other things, but it's really hard to fake those clinical blood tests. So, she has CHF. She has lupus. Okay, well, for those of you that do not know what is going to happen here, this is where I have some sort of disagreement. And I don't mean this in a negative way. What I do mean is that I disagree with her clinical pathway right now. But I have to preface that by saying I'm not privileged to all of her medical reports. I don't have access to all of her clinical history. I don't have access to her physically. All right. I haven't, examined her or anything like that. And it's an area that is not of my expertise. My board certification is not in immunology. My board certification is not in rheumatology. All right. So I can't really say, but I can say this on the outlook. All right. I disagree with a couple of different things, and those things are I'll go forward with them in just a minute. Let's get a couple of other comments. Norman, ironic how you make fun of Ricky's gap teeth while wearing new dentures. John, She said it on a live. Actually, I'm glad John got dentures. I mean, that mouth could not have smelled very good. He had a lot of rotten teeth. Mike made another live on roll. There you go, Mike Simpson. Thank you for coming up. Philippine King, Norman the Curmudgeon. D-Web, Doc, as a former certified surgical technician, first surgical assistant, I'm anxious to hear your thoughts when it comes to the clinical side. Personally, I feel Heidi has a subscription. I think we all look at WebMD. I look at the Cleveland Clinic's information, Northwestern's information, John Hopkins' information. I still get in my email, my JAMA publications and Lancet and the New England Journal. I mean, we all get information somewhere. Sabra's on the warpath. Michael Etos. When any expat is in need of GoFundMe fundraising for any issue, don't do anything to alienate any possible person wanting to die. I feel for anyone. Yeah, you know what? As a human being, I'm not going to lie. I donated to Heidi and George, all right? Because as a human being, it's obvious. I mean, you can look at Heidi. She is overweight. She is very sedentary. You know she has health issues, okay? How severe they are? Well, we're going to get into that. Norman's dream is spooning beggar Ren. I don't know that one. Who are we to judge the validity of her health claims? I donated clearly. Yeah, Hurley. Who are we to judge the validity? And who are we to not have some compassion? All right? Heidi and I have been banned from Philippine Antics 4 times total. I'm pretty sure 4, at least 3, but I'm pretty sure 4 times. Philly and I were kind of battling it out at some point in time, see which one of us was going to get banned the most. All right, but that doesn't mean we dislike her or that we don't. You have to have human compassion. There has to be part of it. Mark Reynolds, I've been watching them for years. Despite how annoying and cringy that I can find them at times, they find me annoying as well. They've always been entertaining. And yeah, and here's another one. Mark sent medical funds and support as well. Yeah. So, I mean, human compassion plays a role here. Now, I keep saying I'm going to get to this, and I keep forgetting, I get side ranted. All right. There is a lot of people going into WebMD and Mayo and this and that, and everything gets lost. And then I think, and Heidi is going to disagree with this, I feel certain. All right, George will certainly disagree with this, but I do believe there is a communication issue as well. I believe that, first off, specialists talk to patients much differently than primary care physicians. Specialists do not have time to beat around the bush. Specialists do not have time to coddle. Specialists do not care to coddle. They are a specialist for a reason, all right? And you either follow the protocol or move on to somebody else. And that has a bit of an issue for other things. So I don't get it. Why is she on your channel? Are you going to start? No, I'm not going to start. Lars, I give Heidi the opportunity to do 2 things. Number 1, to correct me if I'm wrong after this presentation port. Number 2, to give her opinion, which she's fully entitled to. Number 3, to maybe ask additional questions. Sorry, it's hard for me to comprehend what he just said. Does Heidi have congestive heart failure or not? Yes, yes, Ace. She has congestive heart failure. She clinically has it. She has an ejection fraction of under 40%, and that is how we, the American Medical Association, the American Cardiac Association, Cardiologists Association, all right, that is their threshold. Anything under 40% is congestive heart failure, all right? It is not a chronic heart failure, as people I've heard it referred to a couple of times. There's a big difference between congestive heart failure and chronic heart failure. Okay? Michael, exactly. Anyone? As an anesthesiologist, Ricky, Mayo or Cleveland Clinic's two top hospitals in the USA are better research. Yeah, they are. I like Cleveland Clinic. I like Northwestern. I like Johns Hopkins. But most of my shit actually comes from American, JAMA, or from Lancet, or some other stuff. But I mean, for quick resources, it's good. But you gotta, interpretation. As an anesthesiologist, Rick, the interpretation is sometimes a problem. And that's what happens, I think, with Heidi. I think that may have happened. All right? You can go online and Google Mayo. Yeah, you can. As the TV show, Believe It or Not. There you go. Dan, Philippine Kings. Why do we need the old skank Norman comment? He's entitled to comment. I'm not going to kick Norman out. Scott and Aziz, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. I'm just going to try and catch up. And Montreal scores. There you go. Philippine Antics. The echo does not lie. No, the echo does not lie. And it's not something that is hard to do. Believe it or not, a echo is very simple. It really and truly is. You get the chamber on the screen. You hit 3 or 4 buttons for the machine to analyze the blood flow, and it's done. British expat Norman. A person born in the UK would normally suggest he or she was British if they became Australian by citizenship. Amazing. I don't know. I have no idea. All right. But I am interested in what's currently going on. But that's a whole other live stream, John. So I'm hoping maybe you will educate us as to that. Because I don't understand these MPs, Labor, Green, all of that. I'd like an opinion. So it's all real then. Heidi has maybe a year left, tops, then said Grandpa was wrong and it's not a scam. No, I how long does Heidi have left? You'll never find a clinician that's going to tell you how long you have left. I've seen miracles happen. I've seen people riddled with metastatic cancer that literally went for 10 years. Okay? It just grew to a certain point. It was in their liver, it was in their kidneys, it was in their lung, and at that point, it didn't grow anymore. So, I mean, nobody knows how long Heidi has left. Other people guess, sure. All right? Norman, you're talking trash daily because you can't get laid. Norman, I don't think Philippines Keen likes you. Mike has it showing even my cardiac output 2.5. Yeah. I mean, it's there. It's absolutely there. So then, what is the next step? So let's now take it. All right. This is where my clinical pathway is different than where Heidi's going. All right. My decision tree would be very simple. You would get now, all right, you have a ejection fraction below 40. I think yours was like 30 something, 38, 33, 30 something. I can't remember. All right. What do? Well, we have to evaluate why is it like that. That's the first thing. And how do we do that? There's only one way. There is the gold standard. The absolute gold standard is the next step. Okay? No CT, no MRI. That's all bullshit. You don't do that. Although there is functional MRI of the heart. That's when you're looking at the actual tissue, looking for damage in the actual tissues. But what we're looking for is why is it? Okay? And that is cardiac catheterization. All right? And for that can also be referred to as an angiogram of the heart. All right. But cardiac catheterization is the next step. And when you do cardiac catheterization, you are always going to be prepared to put in stents. Now, there are 5 major blood vessels, coronary arteries, that we're going to look at in a cardiac cath. Okay? And so you're going to have to be prepared at that point to deploy stents. 1, 2, 3, whatever. All right? Why would you not do it if you can see what it is? Now, here is the next big misconception. All right? The next thing that we see. People talk about, oh, well, I have blood clots in my coronary arteries. No, you don't. You don't. In fact, the last thing you want is a blood clot in your coronary artery because it is going to dislodge. That is just like the stents don't clean. It's not like a roto-rooter. Okay, and you're going to see a video on this in just a second. It is not like a roto-rooter. We don't go in there and scrub those arteries clean of plaque. Inside your coronary arteries, all right, just imagine that you've got a garden hose and you've got a bunch of mold inside that garden hose, all right? We don't go scrub that out. What we do is we deploy a stent. Okay, and we're going to get to that in just a second. But you know what? Let's take a look, literally, at this first. Okay, so what's going to happen is 90% of cardiac catheterization goes in from the wrist, right here. Okay, there's my wrist. I've had 3 cardiac catheterizations. 3. I had one in 2015. Which came back totally negative, 100% clean. When I had I was on a flight from the Philippines to LA, and I threw a deep vein thrombosis, a DVT. I developed a blood clot through it, developed a pulmonary embolism that moved to my heart, and I had a heart attack. Okay, so as part of the process, had to have a cardiac cath, whole 9 yards. So first what happens is they're going to make that small incision, okay? All right, they're going to insert what we call an angio cath. All right, so think of that as a big hose. All right, it's only about 2 centimeters long. So you know what, it can be different lengths, 1.5 centimeters, 2.5, but whatever. All right, that's for everything. That's to keep that access point open. Then we're going to insert a catheter. Now, this catheter is about 5 feet long. I kid you not. All right. Now, we can do this in your groin. We can do it in your carotid artery. We can do it in your brachial. We can do it anywhere. But the wrist is easy. Okay. We're going to go there. We're going to insert this catheter. And this catheter is going to make its way up, and the cardiologist or the interventional cardiologist or whoever is going to be selecting where to turn right, where to turn left, where to do this, going from vessel to vessel to vessel all the way into the heart. And then he's going to select each one of those coronary, that's what we call it, select each one of those coronary arteries. And he's going to inject radio-opaque dye, all right, X-ray dye, for lack, again, of a better term. He's going to put that in there, okay? And he's going to then visualize how much of that dye goes through that artery. And they have to be very cautious about this because, that dye, the best terminology I can give you, X-ray dye is kind of like watered down Elmer's glue to your kidneys. It is really not good shit, okay? It really and truly, it's come a long ways over the years, but it's not good for your kidneys. So we have to be very careful with that, okay? So then, suppose he then finds out, okay, we've looked at these arteries, okay, because he's going to look at each one of them before he does anything. Each one of them, not one by one, and then decide. Then he's going to decide, how do I do a stent? So, I've shown you the angiocath for the entrance, the catheter going up there, that's how they get there. That other little thing hanging off there, that's just a flush valve, all right? Because there's a lot of blood. It's not a tremendous amount of blood or anything like that, but it's a lot of blood. It coagulates. You got to keep cleaning. You'll see them pulling this catheter out over and over, wiping it down with heparin, getting all the blood off of it that coagulates. And then he's going to put in a guide wire with a stent. So you now have the catheter right there. You're going to input this guide wire with the stent. And it is going to look kind of like this. And bear with me. Let me see if I did this correctly. Dum-da-dum. This is courtesy of Medtronics. Medtronics is a big manufacturer of stents. But there you go. The guide wire goes in. Now it's in the arteries, and they're snaking this guide wire, all right, with the stent is on the end of it, all right, or the balloon is on the end of it, and it has this mesh stent. They're going to pull this mesh stent, and then they're going to inflate a balloon. And what it does is it pushes that plaque all to the side. Now, this particular advertisement from Medtronics is about a particular stent that's coated with something that makes it easy for the blood vessel, for the cells within, not the blood vessel, but the cells within the blood vessel to coat it and make it a nice smooth surface and everything that goes along with it. And that then allows that to go. But blood clot, no. We don't want to roto-rooter that. If we push that clot out, where's it going to go? It's going to go to the brain. And when it goes to the brain, it's going to give them a stroke. So, no, we don't push that plaque out. And blood clots, if you actually had, which there is a tiny, 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 less than 2% amount of people that'll actually have a blood clot in their coronary artery, okay? We don't want to touch it. We want to do, I think it's, if I remember, TPA. It's a type of therapy, a drug that will slowly dissolve that clot. It'll slowly dissolve it because you push that clot out, you're going to give them a stroke. That's the last. We want to just take that clot, that gunk in their artery, and push it into the walls of the artery. That's simple. Now, what do we need to think about prior to that? Well, Heidi's been getting her exams and everything else by a cardiologist. Cardiologist is not the person that performs the surgery. All right, it's going to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. It's going to be a doctor that's trained in chest, heart, lung surgery. That's who's going to do it. There's going to be another one on standby in case he has a heart attack and keels over, number two. And before he even does that, before he even does a bypass, okay? I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize. Okay, so you've got this interventional cardiologist. They've deployed the stent. Now they're going to wait. They're going to wait actually about 30 days. I mean, first they're going to do a follow-up, within 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours to see what the flow is like. But in 30 days, they're going to do that echo again, unless something critically happens. They're going to do that echo again. And then they're going to determine, we weren't able to get that done. It's going to be a bypass. So I have a problem with Heidi's physician, all right, as a cardiologist making a diagnosis of you need a bypass. You have no idea. We have no idea. Is it common? Sure. Could it be? Sure. Is it there to happen? Sure. But as a clinician, I can tell you I would never make that comment. I would say it's a possibility that you need a coronary artery bypass graft, okay? But then you would need to know how many, all right? Is it going to be a single? Is it going to be a quad? All right? Is it going to be a double? Is it going to be a triple? Is it going to be a 5 bypass? I mean, you don't know until you do this cardiac catheterization. And in most instances, you're going to try stents unless they see some really significant stuff. Now, this is not accounting for the problem that you're going to run into with bullshit of congenital stuff, of arterial venous malformations, of all kinds of other stuff. We're talking about too many pizzas, too many donuts, too many porks, too many cheese, too many, all the shit that I eat wrong, that everybody else eats wrong. All right, not everybody else. Some of you are very healthy, but all the stuff that causes plaquing inside those arteries. Okay, that's that's 85% of all of these issues. And you don't dislodge that shit. You simply press it off to the side. Now, let me catch a couple more comments. Maximus, good morning, Maximus. Ran into Maximus about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, at breakfast. Good to see you. Okay, made it to this live. Hey, amigo, good to see you. Philippine King, Heidi is awesome at mimicking Jabba the Hutt. Is that really necessary? All right. That kind of stuff is just not necessary. Okay, so Philippine King, let's just stick to the deal, really and truly. In fact, one of the moderators can just go ahead and put you in a 5-minute timeout. Dano, not about compassion. You come here unprepared to a third world country and not be financially stable, not having emergency backup plan. Yeah, Dano, I agree. But that's not what this is about. That's not what this is about. This is about, is Heidi sick? Is her sickness a scam? All right? And that's really what this is about. Is she is sick. It is not a scam. All right? She claims her oxygen goes down to 75%, yet I have yet to see any loss of breath. Okay, Maximus. Again, keep in mind, folks, we're not here to bash, okay? And I got to tell you, you can drop your at 75%, you're not going to pass out. When I had my double pneumonia with septic shock. Okay, by the time I made it to the hospital, my O2 was in the 60s, and although I didn't feel good at all, and I was having a very difficult time breathing, I wasn't going to pass out. Hey, Special Mike, answer this. How does Heidi get SSDI in the Philippines? I thought you had to be. No. Now, I don't know all the rules about this, Tom, and maybe that's something you should ask her in her channel. But to my understanding, you can get your SSDI anywhere. You don't have to be in the U.S. You're talking about just SSI, which is the welfare side of Social Security. SSDI is the disability insurance that she paid into when she was working. You know what? They're okay, but I feel like their vlogs can be toxic. Sure, mine can be toxic. Mine can be toxic as well. Big Al in the Philippines. Yep, Antics was good friends of mine for years, turned on me even after promoting their channel. You know what? But that has nothing to do with this. That has nothing to do with this. So it looks like she's retaining fluid. That can be associated with CHS. Absolutely, Bill. And I would address that as well. One of the biggest problems that Heidi is facing right now is she is retaining fluid for whatever reason on a cellular level. Now, she says she also has free fluid. All right, so we call that watermelon belly. All right, when you see these extended, distended bellies, that's free fluid, ascites. You can actually put a drain in that. I've done that. All right, that's happened before. I've seen it happen before. You can do that, but she is retaining fluid on a cellular basis, which is why she has fluid leaking out of her skin. And I would also say this. It's a good thing that Heidi's camera is no better than it is. Because I think if she had a high-end, super high-end camera in her live streams, you'd be appalled at just what her skin looked like. I am sure she has rashes. I'm sure she has blistering. I'm sure she has weeping wounds. All right? And that in itself is very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Okay? Because you'll get infected from that. Joe Paul, how do you set a lot of disgusting things about people? Yeah, because she's sick. We're not supposed to say anything back. I don't think that's how the world works. Well, you can go in her channel and say it back. In mine, I'm covering one specific situation, Joe. That's it. I'm not covering her actions. I'm not covering her attitude. I'm not covering any of that. I'm covering the fact of, as a clinical professional, how am I reacting to that? Ace Bachelor Tom, SSDI can be used while overseas. SSI. There you go. Maximus knows. There we go. What treatments are available for her? You know what? I can only say this. It's my experience, all right, my training that says without the cardiac cath, without knowing what you're going after, there's no answer. All right? Stents may make a huge difference. They may make no difference at all. I mean, you only have to look at Heidi to know that she has health issues. Okay? Cardiac is just one. I'm curious, with your existing health insurance, is PI Health good complement to that? I don't have health insurance, Hurley. I self-fund. All right? Last year, I spent about $1.5 million pesos. Last year I spent about about 450, 550,000 pesos. And the year before that, I spent a little over 1 million pesos. All right. Dr. Pfister now on a roll along with his protective trolls. Oh my God. Poor Norman. He's not getting enough. Somebody show Norman some love, okay? Maybe Maximus can give him a reach around. All right. We know you want it, Paul. All right. Norman, John, that. Bill, good morning. I agree. If one comes to a third world country financially prepared to handle medical problems, it's a disaster. Don't go to a third world country without fully funded emergency account. Yep. Maxima, who has 75 level oxygen issues yet never loses her breath? You know what? I'm not going to get into it. You can discuss that with her. Did you see her live last night? I recorded it, and I would like to come up on live stream to show you what she said. Zach, I watched a large portion of it yesterday. So, but when we open the panel, we'll allow people to have a say. Everyone, please be respectful of the host. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Rick. The medical issues will break one in the Philippines. Hey, Scott and Aziz, doing well. People saying hello. I'm skipping all of those. British, hey guys, at any age, success at being laid isn't the litmus test of success. No, it's not. It's not. But you need it. You need it, John. Come on. All right? You turned one woman gay. All right? The other one, her daughter kicked your ass out. Hey, come on, John. All right? Just so you know, John, I have a lot of emails between Ian and I. A lot. I know about his past. I know about his wife's past. I know about yours up there, too. Let's just watch ourselves. Slick Rick. Like hanging a Chad, like a hanging Chad. There you go. Stent is like a balloon inside the stent. So the stent, Pablo, the stent is a wire mesh device. All right. And it's wire mesh because we have to expand it. We have to put it in there, and inside of that is a balloon. And we inflate. Actually, inside the guide wire is I'd have to get you something, but we inflate that balloon to expand that stent. That's how we put it in place, lodge it in place, and expand it to its diameter. And then we withdraw that balloon. Heidi, care to comment on your self-diagnosis? Heidi will be invited up when I get done. Okay. Ace Bachelor, cool. I have an idea for another channel. Does sick grandpa suffer from schizophrenia, bipolar? I know sick grandpa. I just was with him this past month. We had dinner. So you can that's a whole different thing. Analyze my TDS. There you go. Dano, you have trunch. Who knows? At this day and age of AI this and AI that, anything can be made up with a click of a mouse. That includes having an AI girlfriend to an official-looking echocardiogram. You know what, Dave? That's true. But, I mean, if you take one look at Heidi, you cannot argue that she's sick. She's morbidly obese. She has a very sedentary lifestyle. This is not unexpected. Ace Bachelor, cool, good morning from Quezon City, holding my 3-month-old son. Yes, indeed. So for those of you that did not know it, Ace Bachelor Cool has a 3-month-old son, all right? And he just had open heart surgery last week. I've seen photos, follow up. They cut this kid, poor kid, and he's such a good-looking kid. I don't know how he got to be such a good-looking kid with such an ugly father, but from neck to belly, all right, and we're all hoping for the best success. I don't need credibility, as you know who I am, unlike those that hide under stupid handles. Maybe you've got something to hide. I don't know. I've got nothing to hide. Oh, Philippines King. There you go. And that may very well be true. So you know what, Norman? When we open the panel, maybe he will. Maximus hoping for a full and speedy recovery. Absolutely. Finlandium. Never trust Filipino dollars. They overdiagnose to milk patients, especially expat. I should make a video where she quality check her diet. You know what? I wouldn't use AI. All right. I really and truly would not. But I certainly would not want to do. I would look at other alternatives. A British expat at 6'7" sex is not important to my life also. Yeah, there you go. Sex ain't everything, although it's nice. I'm going live 12 a.m. Dare you all. Oh, now he's just trying to churn up his channel. I'm going live at 12 a.m. Are you going to have a panel, John? D-Web. Hey, Dispatcher Tom, don't forget to throw in a couple of vloggers from Duma because they're foremost authority on everything. Yeah. All right. So now, what are we going to do? All right. So I am going to open the panel. All right. I've gone through these things. We've talked about some stuff. I didn't put up Heidi's. I have all documents from Heidi. She supplied them. But I'm going to put and open the panel, and we're going to see what happens. But you guys are going to have to be responsible. I will not place anything. I will not place anybody, all right, on the panel. I will not place anybody on the panel that is faceless. So, and from moderators, if you could copy that and paste it every now and then, I would appreciate it. So, we'll wait to see if anybody wants to cam up. I'm learning some things, but Mike is clinicism, really. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be as layman as I can. Mike knows what he's talking about. Sometimes, to hear my wife, you may disagree. Okay, Norman, you would block half the community. Nobody goes to your channel. I don't know. Mike showed up well prepared. Thank you. I actually put quite a bit of time into this to try and make sure I covered it because it's important. We should all be lucky enough to pass naturally at home without suffering. Yeah, I want to die kicking and screaming in bed. All right? And I don't mean dementia kicking and screaming at myself. Okay? Yeah, you're a classic example. You certainly won't lose sleep over blocking immature Americans. Oh, well, John, aren't you going to block immature Brits or immature Aussies? Your xenophobia is showing. Cracking the chest open is so hard that they often will not do that if you're really up in age. I don't know. I've never seen a bypass. But you know what? I've only seen in person like 3 bypasses. Okay? Purely as a spectator. So I wouldn't be able to tell you. If Mike was monetizing this channel, it might get more credibility to the top. If Mike was monetized, I'm not sure what you mean. Not sure. All right, so let's see what's going on here. All right, and we're going to assign her, and then we're going to go to up And Heidi, good morning. We have you. Do you hear us?
Okay, I'm hearing an echo.
Okay. How about
Do
now?
I have to close out the channel
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
it's
you'll
playing?
have to
Okay, that's
mute.
what happened.
Yeah,
There we
you'll have
go.
to you'll have
I
to mute
forgot
the
about that.
channel.
Hi,
Good
good morning.
good morning. Good morning. So, what are your thoughts about what I've had to say so far? And have I been rude? Have I been wrong? Have I
No,
misrepresented it?
nope. Actually, I've kind of enjoyed your how you've been handling it and answering the questions, and it's been, what it is. And you know what? I do expect all this kickback, Mike. I'm not blind due to stuff that's going on. Never denied that my sedentary life, especially with the lupus, it has been proven by blood tests. That's why the doctor officially put that on there, like on my medications and diagnosis papers. But the lupus has just killed me. I have photos where I was just in Mexico before I hit the Philippines, and over time, yeah, I become more sedentary. Joints are hurting, body's hurting, but I was not this big. I become sedentary because the lupus is just really, really killing me.
Well, and
And
that's a byproduct. All right. So just so people understand, whether lupus is voodoo or real or not, all right, pain is going to cause
well,
a lot
lupus
of
is a real
problems.
thing.
And
It's not like the fibromyalgia, they can throw that shit on me because they're like, oh, now she's got fibromyalgia. Yes, I am seeing also a rheumatologist, and I'm also seeing a pulmonary specialist. So I've been seeing him over and over again.
okay, wait. So Kuya John is trying to cam up, and I am going to say no, thank you, John. I am
No,
not
I
going to put
assumed
you
he would. Yeah.
I am not going to put you and Heidi together. All right. When Heidi is done and when she exits, I'm happy to bring you in. But you know
Yeah.
what? All you
No,
will do is bash. And that is not
right.
what this is about.
Yeah, anybody at that point just wasn't, and I don't expect any understanding from these people, but way before I was nasty, or as they're calling me, they were who they actually were. And I'm not going to discuss things that happened 25 years ago,
That's
stuff they don't know about, things that they're like, it's just amazing how much crap people put out, but it's to be expected. But no, the lupus is a real thing. And I've said over and over again, yeah, I'm a fat bitch. You know what I mean? I am overweight, cause my own issues, but the other things are causing me issues too. So the one thing that the doctors all talk about is they all are causing a complication. So before they will do the stints, like he looked at me like, "Oh, you're still alive" situation, how I talked about that on the live. He's like, "Well, what do you want me to do?" And like you said, they're pretty straightforward. Why haven't you went and got that? He said that. And I said, "Well, I've got the money now to start with that testing." I said, "But I don't have the money for the stints."
yeah.
And that would require substantial. I got to have both those doctors. My oxygen's getting worse. So what's his name was incorrect on the 75. I never said it was all day long. When I take my oxygen off, it probably drops to 90 when I'm walking around. Okay, so not a big deal, but it causes, like right now, it feels like my legs are brick, my muscles are hurting. I can barely hold my arms up for a few minutes. And you know what? That doesn't matter if it's my size or somebody weighs 120 pounds. Oh, it's because she's big and she caused her own issues, is why she can't get around. Okay, I get it. But even small people suffering from what I am, cardiac output of a 2.5 when it should be a 4 to 8. And the same with the SV1. I sent you that. That's indicating there's little to no blood. He said your heart is severely weak. He says you need to get this done. And like, I get it and I understand, but they won't do anything until I go and get the fluid off my body. So the fluid overload has become a cellular issue, and I have it here. They put me on a third water pill. Since, I have given up everything. And what person can? I don't drink, I don't smoke. Everything has been given up for the last 90 days and I'm only getting worse.
No,
So
you're
they put me,
Heidi, you're not going to get better
no, I'm
until
not gonna. Yeah, because they're like, you need to diet, change all the greens. You need to get out and exercise. No, I can't make it to the bathroom. I'm
no,
making
no,
it.
no.
I have an
You,
extended cord that I get around the house with.
in order for
No,
you to improve your lab values, you have to have blood flow. And until you have
yeah,
that blood flow, which will then go to your everywhere, it's not just your lungs, all right? It goes to your heart, to your kidneys, it goes everywhere. Until you get that, your lab values are not going to get any better other than what
right. And the
chemistry
doctor
will happen.
wasn't wrong because I don't know what I was expecting, but it was time for another refill. They're only giving me like 30 days at a time. And so I'm like, well, can I get some updated blood work? Because I am cramping so bad that my hands are folding in. And you're right, my skin all the way up to my arms, my back, it's drying out. It's getting like, it looks like glass and stuff. And I've never been so dried out in my life situation. And he's like, yeah, you got to get the angio and get the stents. That's it.
Yeah,
And then you hear the naysayer say, well, you should have got back. And it's like, up to that point, a little bit of tiredness during the past year was all on the lupus. There was no, my blood pressure might have hit 140 at some point, but I get migraines. I have severe neurological issues where I'm getting migraines. And I've been suffering from stuff for years. And it's like, so when it gets up there and I've been hospitalized for it, then they give me other medications, the blood pressure goes down. So there were no signs. My legs weren't swelling. It swelled when I came here 5 years ago. I had been on the road. We had went from Mexico City into Los Angeles. Los Angeles, it was like a 3-day trip. And so, yeah, my legs swelled. I am a big girl. I mean, wasn't a spring chicken. So shit's going to happen. Was that part of yeah, there's something going on? Well, yeah, but it doesn't indicate that my heart's ready to go out because my legs swelled. Why it went down the next day. It did when I was pregnant. It happens to people when they get on planes.
hang on. To answer Mike, he's confused. CHF and heart blockage are two different things. Okay, she might have both, but the
He
main
is
problem
listing it as both.
it is. And
Due
here's the
to the
deal.
test, the EKG and everything, he says you have coronary artery disease. That's how you're blocked. Now, I also want to let you guys know where it gets more complicated is that my aortic valve is going out too.
Yes, I did not
This is
address
why
that.
he's mentioning the open heart surgery. It's because of what the outputs are and what the testing is why he's talking about open heart surgery. The other reason, Mike, is with the lupus, it's a proven fact that these stents could reject. And there's
Yes,
a bunch of other stuff. He's
it can
feeling he may need to, that they may need to go in there.
it can happen. And here's the other thing to consider, Heidi. All right. So let's just say that you turn around and for those of you that are trying to join the panel, let wait until Heidi and I can discuss this a little
Yeah,
bit
because
further.
I'll be honest. The reason they're coming on is to be naysayers from watching
No,
other
this
stuff
is
and all
not a
that. And I'm not here to argue. They can come argue with me on
yeah,
my
no,
channel. And
Paul, the guy, we've had several people try and join that are not trolls. Okay.
okay,
But anyways, what I was going to say was, the prep for a bypass. All right. Before you can even say, oh, we need to get you in for a bypass. We got to know where are they going to get that bypass material. All right. Where are they going to get
right.
the veins? I mean, they're going to bypass how much, how many, all right. How many inches or centimeters of vein do they need to cut up? Can we get 10 centimeters and cut that into 3 pieces? And that's enough to get three of them. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that
And there's a
has to
family
be done.
history. So my mother had open heart surgery, regular sized woman. So la below, but she was fat too. No. Her valves went out. They used pig valves is how they replaced hers. And so the open heart surgery happened on her, I don't know, late 90s. But then she ended up passing away from cancer. So they a whole different complication. But yeah, there's heart issues in the family. But to, when I think about the whole thing, it is more complicated. It even confuses me to some extent because it probably be minimum of 70, 80,000 just to go in and start the angio. But then, like you said, you got to be ready. But when I was in here the last time, he said, go to the emergency room. He
Yeah.
told me from there, but I can't. I cannot afford that. I can't. I cannot afford to go sit for 7 days up to weeks to get rid of this fluid. I could be retaining easily 100 pounds worth of water weight. I'm leaking it out of my legs. And the stomach. You were talking about the drainage. What's happening to me is like when I'm sitting up right now, my stomach is distended. It's rock hard, like when I was pregnant. I mean, it
Right. We
literally starts from the top
we
and
call
it
that
goes all the way down.
watermelon. We call that
Right.
watermelon baby
Yeah, like a
belly.
cities, right. But when I lay down, I'm drowning in my own fluid. So if I sit up too long, my muscles, my back, everything is burning. So when I lay down, the fluid goes down. With the hospital bed, which I'm grateful for, I sit up all the way, probably 10 times higher than I was. But I can't lay flat. I can't lay on my stomach, or I can't lay flat. I'm not allowed to lay on my stomach. And even on my back, the oxygen drops further. This is where the point is I can only lay on my right side. This is critical. He's like, yeah, you're at a bad stage right now. You need to go get everything off of you, the fluids, bring down the swelling because the inflammation is still up there. It started to go down, it's back up again. And so can't do any of the above. And to address people, the biggest thing on their mind is you should have left sooner. You should have brought more money. You should have had better insurance. Yeah, I had insurance for a while, but I have been here over 5 years. Travel insurance is a lot different than trying to still get it back home. And I'm not making no 2, 3, 4,000 a month. Never claimed to be rich.
Yeah,
Insurance is
and
not cheap.
but you know what? That's not what we're here about. We're here about to say
Right.
you're not scamming. You have limited funds. You're not scamming.
Yeah. I
You're
mean,
saying, hey, if you enjoy my content, help support the channel. If you have human compassion, enough of it, you could help
you know,
support me. All right. But
right. So
at the
bringing
same
it up
time,
all the time is because it's on my mind, Mike. Like that's people don't understand sitting in this house, like facing death every day until they've been there. Like most people haven't even went through a major surgery, or they've always been with somebody, had little to no issues. When you're facing this, everything goes through your mind. So much so now I joke about everything because it's the way I'm getting through it.
yeah,
I mentioned the last couple times, I'm aware I'm not going to get this money. I'm just waiting to be in a hospice stage. At this point, I am barely moving.
yeah,
My tongue gets numb. My arms are numb. I can't sleep more than 2 hours. It's become at that point, and the doctor said, yeah, it is critical.
yeah.
So the fact that I've made it the last 90 days has been a miracle, but it
So
is really scary.
when we look at this, I would ask a couple of other questions. I would,
Yeah, sure.
and this is, I think, more for other expats to learn. Okay,
Right. Yeah.
if
Go
you
ahead and
had it,
ask. I'm
if you had it to do again, would you have seen a specialist? Like, here's what I noticed. You have lupus. You should be under the care of a rheumatologist, someone that
Yes,
is
I have been.
right,
Yes,
right.
I have been.
But you only started that a couple months ago.
I
You
started
only
before that.
it's
No, I did before that. I started seeing the one at the hospital, but since I've been here, I've been getting care and taking medicine.
um yeah, you've been here taking care, taking medicine, but have you made a live stream that you said this was your first visit to an actual
I
rheumatologist.
meant to say to that facility.
Ah, okay. All right.
Yeah, let me
So,
clarify that because I get going, I get rambling, but no, I have been.
yeah.
This
And
has been
and
critical since I've left. Yes.
and again, that goes back to what I was trying to say earlier. Sometimes there's we misspeak. Sometimes
Yeah. Yeah.
we get words mixed up. Like I see people that mix up CHF. They call it chronic heart failure. No, it's congestive heart failure. Chronic heart
Yeah. Or
failure
they've
is,
been saying congenital or something, which
yeah,
means you were born with it.
right.
Yeah.
So I
I can
mean,
like hereditate something, but yeah, I wasn't born
so
with it. Yeah.
I mean, there's room for error in
Yeah,
all
so
of
it
these
happens. No, I've
circumstances.
been seeing because these things are cheap, Mike. It's literally like 12, $13 a specialist. Now the medicines get to be expensive, but the heart doctor is what I've been just seeing
Shit.
recently.
My God, man, mine are $20. Come on, you're getting it cheaper
It's
than
700 pesos. Check this out. It's 700 pesos at that heart clinic. You can see the doctor's name on there. And no, that one is actually 700 for that
you
one.
know.
700 pesos.
Here's what's funny: if I see my cardiologist at um, Clark, it's 1,000 pesos. If I
Okay, yeah.
see him at clinic at AUF, because sometimes I'll go. I hate going to AUF. All right, but
Yeah, AU.
it is what it is. Okay, it's a teaching hospital. Deal with it. All right.
Yeah.
But if his clinic hours are sometimes more conducive for Arlen and I to go to AUF, I see the same guy at AUF and he's 900 pesos. So he's a little cheaper at AUF. But
Yeah, I can't remember. At AUF, the pulmonary specialist, one charged me 900 and the other charged me 1,000 at the clinics there.
yeah,
So
my
yeah, I didn't know it changed at the office. Yeah, because their place is outside. It's hard to find certain specialists here.
yeah.
I had to search very high and low for, the specialist for my lungs.
Yeah. So let me
So
answer Dave here. Dave says, Doc, could Heidi's lupus be one of the main contributing factors to her poor dietary choices, obesity, shortness of breath, and other human? Well, you know what? I think we all make poor dietary
oh yeah.
choices. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
Number one. And again, you know what, Dave? I'll be honest with you. I'm not an immunologist. I don't know. I don't have a problem saying
And
I
how
don't
many
know.
people, Mike, do you know that eat healthy? I'm sorry. And a lot of people assume that I just sit around eating two pizzas. That's not true.
There was a
I had
time
the
I could sit
gastric
around.
bypass and my stomach is still stapled. So I'm not sitting around. Now, can I drink my calories and eat sugary items? Hell yeah. But as far as being a glutton, I mean, to even sit here and say it even sounds weird. I never denied that I did, but where is that coming to the factor that I'm dying, stuck here, and the way things are going down? I'm not going to get the money. Let's be realistic. And just because I mention it doesn't mean, oh, well, see, she did scam, has been the big thing out there, and she's already given up on it. She's got the money. Boom, you got me. I've got $4,000, which has already been spent. Some of the money, okay, is what I've collected over the last 3 months. I don't expect people to support. I can ask, I can keep bringing it up. I can actually let people see what's going on because most of these vloggers are making it way too fucking sunny in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Shit
Well,
happens, and medical is going to be the biggest downfall for the expats. Most of them do not, I'm sorry, they do not have insurance. They do not have the funding. We came with over 60,000. Actually, that's what we left with. And I'm going to stick to that. By the time we got here in Mexico and during the pandemic, that money went quick. I was like, okay, we got a residual income, had some credit cards initially. No, way more than other people do. But it's not enough. But I sure the hell wasn't going to stay back in there what was going on. Plus, it
yeah.
was our plan to come here anyways. And
Well,
now with what's going on,
You know what? I think what it boils down to is that individuals make their own choices.
Yes,
They
they have to.
and they work through the results of those choices, and
Mhm.
that's just all there is to it. Now, I
Right.
also believe that you can't you can plan for as much as you can, but
Hmm.
you know, can you plan for everything? You can plan for everything, but you may not be able to afford everything. All right, you can
Right.
plan
There's,
you know what, Heidi, you would still be in trouble in the United States right now. You would
oh, sure
be
it would.
you would be on Medicare, all right? You'd be responsible for 20%, and even at
Hmm.
discounted Medicare rates, you would end up with a huge bill. I mean,
Like
my
3/4 of the
mom's
country not being able to afford it, correct.
yeah, I mean
And
my
it just
mom's a
where in the co-pays back then, like when I was paying for different things through the neurologist and, the lupus specialist and going through this stuff, yeah, it was 25 bucks here, 50 bucks here, and
yeah.
there's like limits even with the supplements.
I mean, so
Sure.
you can face those same situations in the U.S. My mom, all right, has suffered. This was about 8, 9, 10 years ago. We were still in the Arlen and I were still in the U.S. My mom suffered a significant health issue.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll leave it at that. By the time she got done, and she had Medicare, all right, um, by the time she got done, her copay, she owed over $40,000 in
Oh,
US.
wow.
All right.
Yep.
That was her copay. Now, she had to go on a helicopter, life flight, ICU for 2 weeks, the whole night. I mean, it was a significant issue. But my point is we can prepare, but we can still not have enough money. All right.
Three
I can
quarters of the United States and the world cannot afford anything more than a $10,000 emergency. And I would probably say even half the world or America,
Yeah.
especially with what's going on now.
Now, I
So when
think
I
Mac.
make comments on, the channel about it's too expensive to be there and my oxygen machine won't make it and I will not get a doctor's note from anybody, it's a real thing. But I sure the hell don't want to go back either. It's expensive. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's like a whole factor. But, it even came to a point where, like recently, because of how bad I've been feeling, like, well, I can just sneak on. No, I'm going to have to drag myself onto that airplane and I'm going to have the oxygen machine. And when I do, they're going to ask.
No, no, I
I'm
can
going
tell
to
you
have
right
a
now.
doctor's note.
I've flown with a oxygen concentrator. All right. And you will have to have clearance. All right.
Yep.
In the US, you don't. But getting to the US, I can tell you Philippine Airlines, Cathay Pacific, um,
We've been using
JAL.
Singapore Air.
I
Yeah.
did. No, I'm not rich enough for Singapore Air. All right. But Cathay Pacific, Philippine Air, EVA, and JAL all required a certificate to fly with an oxygen concentrator. Okay.
Yeah.
I had to do that once. All right. It was a
Yeah.
precautionary measure, uh, but I still, felt that way. I mean, I have an Inogen oxygen concentrator. It's like one of the gold standards. All right. It'll last. It does whatever. But that's beside the point. I was going to put it over here and
And
then
a lot of people misunderstand the standard of how people need the oxygen. Okay. I'm not a professional either. So the standards when it comes to congestive heart failure, coronary artery disease, and me being short of breath, it's because it's beyond just my lungs. So the fluid pressing against it is a different type of drowning feeling. I'll tell you, when this first started 3 months ago, I didn't need it. I might
well,
have been short of breath out and about, but I'm stubborn to do something like that. But
okay. So
now I can barely make it to the bathroom. Now I have a 50-foot cord that makes it around the house right now.
and here's something people need to recognize and understand: your body is a miracle. It is a feat of engineering that we cannot do. We as human beings are incapable. I don't know about your body, okay, but the human body,
Thanks, Mike.
okay,
Hell
the
yeah.
human body is a engineering miracle. However, it is finely balanced. It really and truly is. When you
Right.
start gaining water
Mm,
weight, even a few ounces, um,
yeah.
uh, you
Oh,
get you get two or three. You get a liter of fluid surrounding
ain't
your
even a
heart, all right,
mm,
or a half a liter of fluid
ain't
surround,
no
you know,
joke.
because you have your heart, and around your heart is what we call the pericardial sac. That sac is kind of like, you know,
Is that like
kind
Georgia sack?
I wouldn't know what Georgia's sack is like. I would more
It's
think of it.
brown and kind of shiny and soft.
Okay, I'm still drinking my coffee, Heidi. Um,
It's brown too.
think of it as going trick or treating. You got your pillowcase, when you were a kid, and you went door to door and you threw the candy in the pillowcase. Well, your candy is that heart, and that pillowcase is this pericardial sac. And as it fills with fluid, it puts pressure on the heart. And the heart is not designed to go
Mm,
outside of its operating limits. All right.
right.
Just like your car is only designed to go to so many RPM before you change gears, your heart is designed to only handle so much weight. All right. All of those things. So when you start retaining fluid, and it's obvious you retain fluid. It's
Mhm.
obvious from some of the photos that you've posted. Your skin's a fucking mess. It
It
is a
is a mess.
disaster. I mean, literally, I saw an alien on a TV show the other night that had better skin than you. All right.
Yeah, it's getting
I
bad.
mean, it really is kind of
People
scary.
and really until you're there, even if you have some medical training, it really just doesn't hit you. I was used to seeing that, with people in their 90s when issues come up and dry skin and everything. No. It's it's an actual real deal. By the way, I'm using cough drops because I am only, he said, less than 1,500 mils. It's 3 actual bottles of water. If I'm
And
thirsty,
that's
he
another
said, do
part.
the cough drops. I
And
am
that
extremely thirsty.
that is another issue that um I take issue with. All right. Um, but again, I make the same statement that I made before. I don't have your medical records. I have not examined you ever. I've never, I've only met you twice in my life. All right. Both times at like meet and greet type situation. Well, once, yeah. But anyways, my point is that I would not be limiting that much fluid. I would be pushing more fluid, more diuretics, more fluid.
Yeah,
But
that's what I've been sitting here looking for. He just recently, I was added. I'm on furosemide 80 milligrams. Now it's 3 times a day. I
yeah,
don't get any more rest beyond 2 hours. He just did it to me at nighttime. The hydrochlorozine, the other water pill, that's being taken once a day, and I'm on spractalone twice a day.
yeah,
And so I'm on 3 different ones. So understand, one is potassium sparing, the other one messes with it. And what happens, I cramp and the levels are showing okay, but I still take an extra supplement.
yeah,
Without it through the day, I've noticed I'm just falling over.
right. And so Maximus makes a great comment. Everyone in this world is terminal. And he's right.
Oh, yeah.
We're all
Yep.
going to die. No one gets out of the
Mhm.
world alive. How long and how well you live is
And I'll be
partially up to you.
55 this summer, so it's not like I'm a spring chicken either. So, we have a video that's coming out, and I was just looking at it, and I told George we were joking about urns, because I'm to be cremated situation. These are things that have to be discussed, and it's a lot of pressure on both of us. So I'm joking and looking like they got this golden white one that reminded me of the White House. It's like how Trump would have went out. And then they had this one that had red roses and white, and I said, that's like old lady. And George he started laughing. We both couldn't catch our breath. He says, you are an old lady. And I said, so it was just like, age will catch up and size really sucks. But people need to take like a look at themselves because a lot of people are unhealthy in multiple ways, whether
Sure.
they excessively drink, whether they're 30, 40 pounds. Most of the country is really overweight.
Yeah,
I
I
just happen to
mean,
be a big girl.
obesity is a generational problem in the United States. Obesity is a problem here in the Philippines. All right,
Yep. Oh, it
um,
is becoming an
it
epidemic here.
it
Yeah,
goes
it is what
everywhere.
it is. The foods are riddled with chemicals. It's meant to trap you. There's all kinds of things. So it's not actually easy on that.
Yeah,
And
Ace
the
Bachelor,
prednisone has not been easy. I've been on steroids for years.
Ace Bachelor Tom goes, Mike, you met with sick grandpa a few weeks ago. Were you able to complete your exam? Do you already have a diagnosis? Well, all right. So yeah, I've had dinner with sick grandpa before. I've had lunch with sick grandpa. We've run into sick grandpa at the bars. We bar hopped with sick grandpa, or he bar hopped with us actually. Um, we had a
So
great.
how is his persona off air? Is he like Andy that he's just a good guy and he just really rouse people up?
Um, you know what? All right, so I'll be honest.
Persona, because YouTube is YouTube. People just don't get that.
I will just tell you this. He is smart. He's intelligent. All right. And is he loud and outgoing? Yes.
Yeah.
He is. We have never run. I mean, he has beat up our channel before. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I mean,
sure, of course.
he's a professional troll, and that's all there is to it. And we had a great time with him. You know, so you know, I don't know what else to really say. So,
Yeah.
but he is who he is, and that's just all there is to it. But Tom, I got no idea. I didn't do a eye exam on him. We had we had a good time. Let's see here. In CDL, I want to die at 72. I'm 53 now. The sociopath. I haven't seen the sociopath in a while. All right. She entered the country in an uncontrolled chronic illness. Immigration can potentially consider as medically. I don't know. You
That's
know
not
what?
true. I'm sorry. People been talking a lot of shit. I should be deported for this. I shouldn't have came in. It's chronic. That's because that's somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about. They don't do exams when you come in. You don't fill out papers. It's not even in the immigration stuff. I came in with a chronic illness. 9 out of 10 expats has got a chronic illness when they enter this country. It'd be
Yeah.
empty.
And I don't know.
Like full of yourself.
I don't
Give
know
me a break.
what the rules are on that. Okay. So I can't answer it, sociopath. Sounds like major lifestyle change should have been made. Sure, we should have all changed our lifestyle. Now, you know what? That's different. So those of you that don't know this, I know D Webb. I know Dave. Okay. I will tell you this. D Webb is like walking up to a fucking brick wall. This guy is big. I bet he has less than 3% body fat. He's muscular, everything that goes along with it. So not all of us should have made major changes in our lifestyle.
Yeah, but not many
most of
do. So we all make mistakes. There's
Yeah.
one out of probably 100 that can control their shit.
I should have made
But
major
usually
changes.
people like that have some sort of problem. He smokes cigars, right? Smoking? That's
Dave,
not going to get him down
Dave
the road.
enjoys a cigar.
Sorry, it's enough. People sit there and because I'm physically where you guys can see it. There are big people without some health conditions. Now, usually it comes with it, but the whole point is skinny people and extremely healthy people can end up with the same thing. So they're not out of danger.
Right. No, nobody is. Nobody is.
We all are vulnerable, but I understand the purpose and
Loki wants us to bring John up. Yeah, not going to happen.
No,
Kuya
not going to
John would be
happen. It's
hilarious.
irrelevant what he's got to say. He got butt hurt because I talked about him being like somebody abusive. And he's been holding on to that for years. Like literally, that was like 3 years ago. The idiot created a channel and just did a bunch of stupid shit and went off the chain. And he's been ever since wanting to say something. So he needs to go sit down somewhere. Especially now, I'm not going to sit around with a bumpkin like that. It doesn't make
Uh-huh.
any sense.
So, okay. So here's where we kind of stand right now. All right.
Okay.
We've covered everything that I think is pertinent with respect to the fact that you do have CHF. All right. You can't lie to the ultrasound machine. All right. You can't lie. You were diagnosed by a reputable mandatory methodology through the AMA's Social Security Blue Book of Disabilities. So you have lupus and you're sick. Period. In the story, it's not a scam. It's not a lie. You're sick. All right. Are you sick, really bad sick? Yeah, you are. All you have to do is look at you to know that you have a lot of health issues. You have, I would bet you money, Heidi, that you have other health issues that have not even been mentioned. Okay. Besides lupus, besides CHF. All right.
I haven't gone into my neurological issues. I don't go into my skin cancer. I showed people when this got cut off my face, but it's back again. So it's the least of my problems. So there are other things, but
so my point along all the way is that three things transpire. You are sick, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Not a scam. You are trying to find a way to raise the money, which is highly doubtful, but trying. All right.
And I know that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you do. You admit that, but you're trying to raise the money for the next steps. You're not a multimillionaire, so why can't you try and raise the money? There's nothing wrong with that. All right. So I would say I think we've proven the point of this live stream is that you're sick. You're real.
How much were your stents? This is somebody that's AIing stuff for sure. If I said that my surgery could be up to $7 million, they could get in there and do the stents and find a whole mess and need to do open heart surgery. Well, so that's what they're talking about because my aortic valve is going out. It could be around that, if not more, because of the specialist. That is talking with the specialist. The pulmonary guy said it could go way higher.
Okay, so all right. So stents come. All right, stents are only so big. In other words, they come in. I think they come in two sizes. They may come in three, but the maximum size is like 20, 21, 24. You know what? I'd have to go back and look. But anyways, so my experience with stents here in Clark Medical. All right. So I was in the hospital. I was in the emergency room 2 days. I had echocardiogram. I had EKGs. I had color flow Doppler. I had chest x-rays, blood work out the ass, oxygen therapy out the ass, blah, blah, blah. Yep. All right. Yep. 2 days of that. Then I had cardiac catheterization and my blockage. I had two arteries that one was 90% blocked. One was 80% blocked. So the one that was 90% blocked was very torturous and it was a big blockage. All right. So they had to put two stents back to back. All right. In that one artery. And at that point, I had already gotten my my maximum amount of contrast dye, X-ray dye. And I said, that's enough. We're going to have to come back and do the other one later. I don't want any more dye. It's going to gum up my kidneys. So had the 2 stents put in, one artery, 4 days total in the hospital, 5 days total in the hospital. All the tests, blood work, everything else cost me 980,000, 1 million pesos.
Yeah, which is a little under around 20,000
20 grand.
US.
Okay.
With no complications, with
No
no specialist, with no pre-entering to get the swelling down to even consider any of this. And I'm already there. So
no, I didn't have heavy fluid buildup. I didn't have any of the problems that you have. None. Whatsoever. Okay. My only pre-existing was diabetic, which is managed and under control. All right. And,
yeah, he said I would have to enter, and it could be anywhere from 10 days up to people are in there forever to get rid of the fluid and the inflammation because of the lupus. The inflammation's coming from like the heart, the lupus. It's kind of like a back and forth, but it's going to take time to bring that down. It would just be a hot mess to put the stents in with inflammation going on.
Right. So Mango and Cash says that yeah, I've been to St. Luke's, to the website. There are 2 stents, 700 to 800. All right. That's go in the day before. That's have your pre-test done. There are 3 tests. You're going to get a chest x-ray. You're going to get a verified secondary color Doppler. You're going to go get 2 stents done. All right. Even though they'll look at all 5 arteries, you're going to get only 2 stents. All right. And you're going to discharge 2 days after. All right. They're going to keep you 2 days. Yeah. That makes sense.
It's kind of like the eyeglass thing when people go to get the LASIK eye surgery, 2 eyes for 800 or something. It's like you get in there and it's like $5,000.
Right.
Yeah, so, they're giving you some basic numbers. So 13,000 is way, way off.
Yeah. So 800. You know what? There are other things. Until you go to the hospital and you sit and talk to them and you find out, and I can tell you right now, when it comes to Clark, they're going to tell you, well, this is what it costs, providing you don't go outside this level of care, providing you don't need other stuff. Don't count the fact that I wouldn't eat a goddamn thing they served me in that place. All right. All right. I'm spending another freaking 1,000 pesos a day. Arlen running out. Of course, they were getting pissed off. The only way I got away with what Arlen was buying buckets of Jollibee to give to the nurses station just to sneak my Jollibee or Starbucks. Starbucks has some pretty good sandwiches. Starbucks or whatever in. All right. There's all kinds of unexpected, just like your oxygen machine. Okay. You're going to rent an oxygen. You're going to get charged for concentrated oxygen unless you bring your own. Just like,
this one is hospital level.
Yeah. My blood test, here's another example. I have to check my sugar multiple times a day. Those of you that are diabetics do the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Thank God for that. Yeah.
So for them to check my sugar, all right. In fact, I got it right here. All right. Because I skipped my breakfast and everything just for this. So these little test strips right here. Boom. Okay. And they go in this little Goomba right here. All right. These things cost me about $1 a piece. All right. I order packs of, you get 100 in here. I order a package of 4 of these at a time. They're about $1 a piece. Okay. Something like that. A Clark charges $5 for each one of those strips, and then another $3 to put it in their little machine to measure it.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of little add-ons, but it
Right.
is,
And, I'm reading Mango and Cash that when I've mentioned these amounts, it's what I'm trying to raise up to. And I said that it's going to vary, but I never said that 2 stints only is 40,000. I think I told you initially I mentioned 30,000, but didn't add in the issue of lupus or having to be in the hospital to get this stuff down and all of that. The amounts that George, when he created that site and what we've been talking about, is based on, you know, what's actually going on. It may not just be 2 stints. It could be that they're not going to do it. Once I'm in there and they know all of this, it pretty much is going to have to run consecutive.
yeah,
It's because every day has been critical right now.
yeah. So,
So I'm not going to just like right now, I think I'm up to 4,000. Let's be realistic. I'm nowhere even if it is, what he's saying at 13, 14,000, I'm still way off from that. And so it's, the fact that people keep saying it's a scam, I'm like, well, that's the biggest goddamn scam of the century. That I would go, like George said, yeah, that's what we did was purchase the hospital bed and a new oxygen machine and go through all this stuff. AI documents. It's amazing still that people would even say that.
right.
It really
So,
actually is. I've shown myself at the office that I would just make that up to go along to get a little money. We're
yeah.
not that broke.
So,
That's a
so
different level of broken
let
scam.
me address Loki to stunt. All right. What's her end game solution wise? All right. This is her end game from a professional, clinical, board certified, fellowship trained individual. All right.
Yep.
I will tell you what her end game is. Die. That's her
That's
end
the
game.
one, and I'm aware of
All
that.
right.
Sure. Yep.
She has,
And I
and,
was quick to mention hospice. I really got attacked in the beginning. Oh, she's already got herself 1 foot in the grave. No, bitch, I do have 1 foot in the grave. Actually, the other one's already in the sand or in the mud
and
or whatever. Here it's sand. But the
as
deal is that is a for sure situation
yeah, and
because
and
that's
I
what's
would
up
go
and
back.
coming.
I would go back and I would say, you know what? Maximus pointed out we're all going to die. That's going to be
Mm-hmm.
everybody's end game. All right. But Heidi's end game is going to be faster than many others. It's just that simple. Heidi is at a point, in my professional opinion, and I hope this, whether this is heartbreaking or hurts your feelings or whatever, but
That's right.
you know, once you talk to a specialist, you're going to get the same reply. You are not repairable back to normal operating procedure. You are
Even if I get the
slightly
stents, that's
fixable.
enough to get me back to the US. Once I get the stents, then I can get on a plane. Then
You
I can go back and deal with the aortic valve and other issues.
you know what, Heidi? You can get the stents. You can get the bypass, and you can get the valve replaced, and you're still going to have a shorter end game. Okay,
Yes, of course.
you
Yeah, most
have
definitely.
you have faced health issues for many years. All right, just like many of us, we have not all been good patients. We have not all done what we should.
Been good
All right,
stewardess to the
we
bodies. Yep.
haven't, but that's the point.
Mhm.
So I would like, just I'm just going to die kicking and screaming all the way to the grave, hopefully on my back and in bed.
Yeah, more than likely, as I asked him, I said, what's going to happen? He says, you're probably just going to die in your sleep.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm drowning at night. I wake up coughing. I cough all the time. He says, you're probably either going to have a heart attack, a stroke, or you're just going to die in your sleep. He said, more than likely, you're just going to die in your sleep. I was
Right.
like, yeah, that would be nice
So-
if that's how it goes down.
So everybody wants Kuya John to cam up, and I will allow Kuya John to cam up once Heidi is done. And, because I've pretty
You
much
can have a
covered-
say, and I guarantee it's not going to be constructive or anything, but trying to bring up my past and say the same
that
crap.
I won't deal with.
So I mean, it's
That I won't deal with.
Good for him.
She can be. considered medically undesirable. Yeah, sociopath, but I don't know what the process is for that. So it's hard for me to comment on.
I call bullshit on that, Mike.
You don't think so?
You know what? The expats are threatening. And what would be the point? That's what I've been hearing lately. Oh, call on Heidi. She's on the wrong Social Security. Have it taken away. What is the point of that? Call up and have her deported. She isn't supposed to be here. All of that. Good luck on that. Go ahead. It doesn't make any sense to me. That's the one thing that boggles my mind, is that she is unfit. Well, then good luck. You get in line and do that with everybody up, and I'll lawyer up, because telling me I'm medically unfit and need to be deported, good luck on that. So, sorry.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Heidi, is there anything else that you would like to say or comment on about what I had to say? And
nope, you're straight on, and the people ain't wrong either. So they're going to keep thinking what they want and do what they want. But you're straight on. You are. And people do have the right to say whatever, and it is what it is with the YouTube world. So nope, you're not wrong on that. And I do appreciate it.
Then I'm going to let you go. You can rejoin if you'd like, but I'm going to start bringing up other people, and we'll start to see what they're like on the panel. So
gotcha.
If you want to rejoin, feel free. Thank you very much for giving us all the opportunity. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye. Okay. Let's see. Let you go. You can rejoin if you'd like, but I'm going to start bringing up. Turn the other shit off, John. See what they're like on the panel. Okay, John, I'm not going to look at your head. You're either going to. That ain't going to work. All right, John, you're either going to show your full face, all right, or you're not going to be on there. Pretty much that simple. All right, let's try this one more time. Bum, 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 bum. We'll try that. There you go, John. Good morning. Actually, it's evening. I don't know. Where are you nowadays?
I'm in the universe here. Thanks for having me. I wanted to just show my head because you guys used to call me Egghead. I don't know why.
I never called you Egghead. I never called you Egghead. You have me confused. What did you do? Did you take the smoke detector out over there?
Can I keep my camera like this or no?
No, you got to show your face. Strict. Everybody else has to show their face. I don't want to talk to your smoke detector.
I agree, but I want to say, as long as I don't swear and talk about drugs and disrespect somebody, then I'll be able to finish, right? Because I have a lot to say.
Yeah, as long as you don't swear, but you got to show your face.
For the record,
you got
Heidi, for the record, I have not talked about or talked to you for over a year, Heidi. So everybody else that's in the comment section is not me, and it's all in your head. But I do have something to say here.
Sure.
So do you promise to let me finish?
It depends on what it is, but I promise to.
Okay, well, I'll start with the bad stuff first. When Heidi said it's brown too, did you catch that? Talking about George's ball sack. Did you catch that part? Did you catch that?
Yeah, I caught that.
Okay. The disrespect that Heidi has towards George is enough to make everybody question her. So she's a mean-spirited person, doesn't think before she talks. Heidi, look at the law in the Philippines. The hospital can release you with a promissory note. I know everybody thinks that everybody has to pay and it's mandatory, but you actually can get released with a promissory note. So this whole thing with you need money to do something about the hospital is really deep down not true. You can check the law. So liars are never going to succeed. And I feel like, Mike, you're just doing the stream to get attention. All you guys should be doing is talking about Duterte. When I found out Duterte got arrested, I left the country because I can't support that country anymore. but that's a story for another video that I bet you don't have the balls to make. I swear on my grandmother's grave, Heidi, I have not talked about you, but I do have something to say in regards to this you asking for money stuff, because it seems to be a consistent thing. I wish we all could ask for money to have our stuff taken care of in life. We subscribed to your channel because we wanted antics and we wanted to learn about the Philippines. But for the last year, I haven't been able to really watch you. And every time I tune in, I actually take out my phone and have to record you because it's so bad. And we all know what I'm talking about. The days where George is freaking out, wanting to cry. What you've done to him is really, really bad. I don't understand.
That is okay.
I'm only halfway done, sir. I'm only halfway done.
Well, you know, I can end that real quick. All right. Now, John, look, this is if you want to have a bashing session against Heidi.
It's not a bashing session. I'm wondering why I can't breathe every day. I can't breathe.
Do your own live stream. All right. That is not what this is going to be about. Why are we not
talking about the felony? Why did you this whole
Why should I? It's that simple. You know, I wanted to have John, but he wanted to turn this into a bashing session against her. And I'm not going to do that. All right. Why can't you have your own live stream where you bash her? Why would you go on somebody else? All right. That's not going to work. No, I muted you. You're going to listen to me or you're going to cut me off. One or the other. Okay. You know, John, I actually like you. All right. I really do. I really felt bad when Mike made that comment about your daughter. All right. I really did. I got to admit, there was no call for that about the poll and everything else. Okay. But I am not going to let you bash somebody here when that's not what this is about. I don't have a better way of saying that. I really don't. So I'll give you another opportunity to continue. But if all you're going to do is bring up her past, all right, bring up how her past is or George's past. All right. And Duterte, look, mention his name again, you'll be banned. All right. It's a political issue. I have to live here, John. Okay. I have to live here. You understand that. Okay. You're up. Go ahead. Volume's back on.
I started following you, Mike, because I felt as though you were an older gentleman and somebody to respect. However, I feel as though that you're always sticking your neck out for people that you don't truly know.
Oh, it happens.
I feel as though with your past life experience, which I don't know much about, you should have the understanding that you never really know until you know. You know? So my point is that we're all dying. You know, I can't breathe, but I'm not sitting here begging for money to figure it out. I have a couple more points I'd like to make. I just don't think that it's cool that she's using the channel after George, disrespecting George like that. But if you don't want me to talk about those subjects and you only want to talk about the health, that's great.
That's all that this was about. I don't mind talking about other subjects, John. What I do mind talking about...
I have a video I recorded last night from her channel, and I want you to view it, and I want you to ask yourself why she said these words. It might take a couple minutes for me to find it here, so let me try to make it easier for you guys. And I'll also say, not word for word, what the video is. I'll say it out of my words first. But she said, "Why would I go back to America? It's so expensive when I could just sit here and have you guys pay for my donuts." Word for word. I'm going to show you, so you don't call me a liar. Pay for my donuts. Sir, Mike, I see you with your tooth. Why are you not at the dentist right now?
Okay.
Seriously.
All right.
We're all here working, and you're putting attention on this serious problem of Heidi. Okay. Serious problem.
Hold
on.
The
way she treats George. is a serious problem in itself.
But
Just the way she
that's
treats
between
George.
her
If a
and
guy
George.
treated,
Isn't
but if a
that
guy was
between
treating a
her
girl
and
like that in
George?
the Philippines, if a guy, yes, Mike is actually my father. I see in the comments section people are asking if you're my father. Yes.
Hell no. You would be the
people
son
are
I'm glad I never
totally-
had.
I'm glad that she got the money, but I also need you to fully be transparent. This woman is a previous criminal, and that's okay. But she's trying to raise funds while at the same time disrespecting a Filipino citizen. I'm heartbroken by the way that she treated him. Many different times, over 10 different times, and I have a lot of them on recordings, just like I'm going to show you.
But
reason
that's
why I
between
recorded-
them. That's
I don't even
between
post
them.
it.
That's not.
Okay? And I'm not trying to cause a problem. I don't even post it.
I'm
not
what I'm
trying to
saying.
cause a problem.
And we're not going to
But
post it on this channel either. That's
but
between
people
them.
work hard. People work hard, and they deserve to know the truth. So I'm going to show the video last night of what she said.
I don't know their purpose besides just putting it in there and not, it's dropped, or she's answered us out loud, or she's like they used to try to do to Mark Ford. They used to attack him. Same people were after MYK, same people after Mark Thornton, same people talking shit in other channels, these other two channels.
Exactly why.
Actually, it's three. They're the same.
Watch how bad. Coffee. Drinking coffee. This is so.
You ain't leading me into no motherfucking call to pay $50 for a fucking tomato. Or fucking over $1,000 for a 1-bedroom apartment. I ain't fucking gonna do it.
Listen.
To save my life, I'm willing to come back down to committing a crime and going into jail if that's what it has to be. So why the fuck should I have to do that?
Wait for it.
Sit here for the next 3 months, order my pizza and donuts on your dime. What? And fucking and do that.
I'm sorry,
your
John.
Dime?
It doesn't come
On your
across.
dime?
It doesn't come across. And you know what? That's just like you or you. She is her. All right. You can be an absolute torturous.
I'm not a personality.
You can be.
I don't have a channel.
You can be.
I'm not asking people for money.
All right. No, you
I don't have a channel
haven't.
and I'm not asking for people for money.
No. But just like you, she has the right to John, I'm not going to disagree.
Play it again?
I will say
play
this.
It again?
I will say this. Okay. So I don't know what is that background noise.
Sorry.
All right. I will say this. Okay. Is she arrogant? Is she abusive with respect to her language? Is she aggressive? Is she all of those things? Yeah. That's YouTube. That's her persona. That may be how she is personally. I couldn't tell you. But are you the same way? I have seen you go ballistic in the past. By the way, I want to say this, and I do mean it, but I hope maybe I'm wrong, but my condolences. I heard your dog passed away, and my condolences. All right. That was a cute dog. It really was. But I have seen you go ballistic before, and rightfully so. That's the problem. Rightfully so. When people are attacked, how they respond is up to them. All right. I can understand that. But I'm not here to go after Heidi, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow that to happen. You don't like Heidi, go to her channel. You can invent a new screen name in about 5 minutes. All right. You could if you wanted to. I'm not saying you do. I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying you could if you wanted to. All right. Go to her channel and do it there, but not here. Not here.
But you're defending this person that you don't know, and you just heard her words right there. You heard about the donuts and the pizza on your dime, right? That's what she just said.
I didn't hear it. Do a video because we couldn't hear it. We couldn't hear.
Really?
It was cutting out and everything.
I wish you said it.
All right. Now I don't want to listen to it. All right. I got other stuff to do. I got other stuff to do. All right. So the link is up there, folks. If you guys would like to comment, if you would like to discuss it, okay, I am happy to do so. All right. Now there is a lot of there's quite a bit of trolling in here, and rightfully so. I mean, there's a limit. It certainly happens. Let's see here. It was hard to hear. Yeah, Raymond, I couldn't get it. I miss Expat John. He's a star. You know what? John is John. Okay. Kuya John, British John, they're all in their own leagues. That's for sure. John has a vibrating device in his. Book of Dano, all the money for this video should go to Heidi. There's not going to be any money. I think a live stream might make me $1.50, and that's just all there is to it. Expat Crap, how you doing? Home Moonshiners, how can he say he has other stuff to do then, but says he's unwilling to listen? So that's Kuya John. He makes moonshine stills. I can say whatever I want to say. That's the beauty of it being my channel, isn't it? It's not a democracy, John. Not a democracy. Ace Bachelor, I can relate. Doctors are telling me the same things. My son is 1 week out. If he didn't have the money, they would let him die. Yeah, that's the way it is here, and that's a shame. And, Ace, right now we're all wishing you the best, all wanting you to do. Caleb just comes out with a great outcome. That's the bottom line. So I'm scrolling up. Cash up your retirement. John has a vibrating. Another narcissist. You need cash to pay for surgery in the Philippines. You do. The hospital wouldn't do anything except raise the funds before they would operate on the baby. What has Heidi said about the Filipino that's helping those homeless expats? She's talked a lot of, you know what? She did talk a lot of crap about Carrie. I think that's who you're talking about, Joe. I don't know, and I don't follow that woman. I don't know, so I can't give you any insight. Those of you that think that we follow these, everybody follows everybody and watches everybody. Some of us have lives where we just don't have the time for it. All right. Taking the time to record other people's channel must be a boring day in the Philippines. Must have been, Raymond. My son's surgeon just told me now I'll need 1 million more pesos for the second operation in 6 months. It's time for you to get a job. I think Jollibee might be hiring, Ace. I'm not sure. It's hard to understand what John was playing. Yeah, Rick, I agree. It just faded in and out. Bottom line, 90% of the expats on YouTube are a bunch of freaks. So entertaining. It's just the angle of his cam. Coke issues. LOL, dude, you have huge nostrils. How are you not breathing my man's nostril, Maxie? Philly in the Philippines, I like donuts. You know what, Brian? I love donuts. I haven't had one in forever, but I love them. Mike, are you John's father? Oh, God, no. God, no. Ugh. BS talking and smiling fake. The professor. I don't know who was BS talking and smiling fake. John bring up when there's a lot of abuse going on with Heidi and George. Yeah, but that's not my business, and I don't care. I don't care. All right. I guess that's what people don't understand. I don't give a shit. If somebody wants to stay there, if that relationship, and I'm not saying that their relationship is toxic, but here's what I'm saying. If that relationship is toxic, if any relationship is toxic, and people elect to stay in that toxic relationship, that's up to them. All right? That's up to them to stay in that toxic relationship. Personally, I wouldn't, but that's just me. If I treated Arlen the way they treat each other, or Arlen treated me the way they treat each other, all right, I'd be gone. I mean, isn't that why I got rid of ex-wife number 2? I mean, I got rid of ex-wife number 1 because I was stupid, young, dumb, got married way too early, the whole nine yards. Okay? But ex-wife number 2, I wouldn't put up with that shit. Ace Buster, cool. I'm waiting to discharge from the hospital right now. Need cash. There might be a promissory note, but they will block you from leaving the country. It's possible they can do that. Some hospitals will do a promissory note if you've put down enough cash to begin with. If you haven't put down any money to begin with, you will not get, it's highly unlikely you'll get away. Dental work is very good in the Philippines. Cheap, high standard. Yep. Baby's alive right now for 3 reasons. Reason 1, God. Number 2, I paid cash. Number 3, the docs did a good job. Ace is luckier than most. He has TRICARE from the military. They're accepted by... Yeah. You know what? I'll let Ace expand on that, but there's more to it than what you think. Oh my God, we actually got a sticker. Thank you so much, Michael Onstead. And for those of you that don't know Michael provides insurance advice and insurance plans through, I think a couple policies, but mostly through PhilHealth. I highly suggest looking him up on Facebook, getting in touch with him. He can certainly help you, point you in the right direction. That's for sure. Thank you. Doctors did their job after they got paid first. Thankfully, you had access to the needed funds. Yep. Big Birch. Heidi always been a low-income troll. It's clear she's running a long game scam. Dude, she's sick. You cannot fake that color flow Doppler. That is something you cannot fake. And I mean, for God's sakes, Big Birch, look at her. You can't help but know she's sick. For God, I mean, she's immense. She's morbidly obese. She's never anywhere but on that couch. She is sick. B fan, nice. Yeah, thank you. Interesting episode. I wouldn't want to put her to sleep. Retired Sienna. Yeah, Paul will tell you. I mean, think about it for a minute. As a certified registered nurse anesthetist, you're the one that's actually going to put her down. Okay? Now, would you not say, hey, I want the anesthesiologist in the room when I knock her down? wouldn't you be the one that says, man, I wouldn't want to put her to sleep? I mean, you can speak to the fact that there are big problems putting people to sleep that are that obese. Michael will get a ton of phone calls this week asking, I hope he does. I hope he does. Mike, I say this with the utmost respect. Heidi's beyond toxic, and George finally has had enough. We all know he's moved on. All the signs show it. Anything is possible, but that's not where I'm at. Ace, how much cash do you need? Set up a GoFundMe. D-Web, having a cigar right now. There you go. Enjoy it, Dave. Oh my God, what live stream all money from channel should go? There is no money, trust me. You don't have to care, but your viewers do. I guess, Joe. I do. That's true. Smoking a brick right now. No hospital here we've been to with our daughter who has severe cerebral has let us sign no promissory note, and she gets disability from America monthly. Let us sign no Yeah, I've never been allowed to sign a promissory note, but then I never asked for it either, but I have heard of it. I just think you're a little out of touch with your viewers. No, you know what, Joe? It's not so much that I'm out of touch. It's just that I want to cover one area. Do I believe that Heidi's toxic? Do I believe she has issues? Do I believe that, my personal views of Heidi are not a part of whether she's sick or not. Home moonshiners, a little, anything's possible. Anything is possible, John. So home moonshiners is Kuya John, just so you know. All right. I'm going to put the link up one more time. And then if we don't have anybody else that wants to join up, I'm going to call it a day. We've been on for, I don't know how long, 2 hours and 21 minutes. George has his mistress at the family house. Only time he with Heidi is to show up for the love show to keep us. I have no idea. I don't know how you get that information. Anything could be true. I don't care about others' relationship. It's their life. They're on their own with it, just the rest of us. Yeah. First time watching your channel, I got pushed to my feed because Heidi was on there. It's possible, Raymond. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you think it was a fair, reasonable, and productive live stream. Let us know. We certainly do. All right. I got nobody joining up. 2 hours and 22 minutes. That's 22 minutes longer than I wanted it to be. I want to thank everyone for showing up. Thank you, moderators, for keeping the room clean and everything else. And we wish everybody a happy, safe, productive day. Thanks.